I sat in my corner office on the 32nd floor of the Morgan Building, watching the Seattle skyline fade into dusk. The space felt different today, the leather chair a little firmer, the air a little thicker. My assistant Sarah had just buzzed to remind me of tomorrow's meeting. Mr. Wilson is coming in to pitch his startup at 9 a.m. sharp. Wilson. My father's name felt foreign now, like a word from a language I'd forgotten. 3 months had passed since that night, the night he'd thrown me out of our family home over $5,000. Now here I was, about to decide the fate of his dream project. I turned to my computer and pulled up his company profile. Wilson Tech Solutions, a bold name for what was essentially still just an idea on paper. My father had always dreamed big, but his follow-through was about as reliable as Seattle sunshine in December. The memory of that night crashed over me like a cold wave. "You ungrateful brat." His voice had boomed through our modest 2-story house in the suburbs. "After everything we've done for you." I stood my ground, hands steady despite my racing heart. "Dad, I can't keep doing this. The money you borrowed last time, it was meant for my apartment deposit. Your mother and I gave you everything." He stepped closer, face red with rage. "And now you won't help with a simple business investment." Simple. Nothing was ever simple with him. Every temporary loan became a gift. Every sure thing investment turned into a black hole that swallowed our family's savings. And somehow, over the years, I'd become the designated safety net. "I worked for everything I have," I said quietly. "The scholarship to business school, the internships, my position at Morgan Ventures. None of that came from you." Mom stood in the kitchen doorway, wringing her hands like she always did during these confrontations. "Olivia, honey, please. Your father knows what he's doing this time." This time. The same words she'd used when he'd sunk $20,000 into a failed food truck venture. And before that, the doomed cryptocurrency trading scheme that cost us almost twice that amount. "No." I surprised myself with how firm my voice sounded. "I'm done being the family bank." Dad's eyes narrowed. "Done? After everything we sacrificed for you?" Sacrificed? I couldn't hold back a bitter laugh. "You mean like when you used my college fund to invest in that bogus real estate scheme? Or when you remortgaged the house to chase another guaranteed opportunity? I was trying to build something for this family." "No, Dad. You were gambling with our future. And every time it fell apart, I was the one who stepped in to fix it." He stepped closer, towering over me like he used to when I was small. "If that's how you feel, then get out. You're no daughter of mine." The words hit like physical blows, but I didn't flinch. I'd been preparing for this moment, even if I hadn't known it. "Fine." I walked upstairs to my old room, kept intact more out of habit than welcome, and grabbed the pre-packed bag I'd stashed there months ago. Some part of me had known this day would come. As I headed for the door, Mom called out, "Olivia, please, he doesn't mean it." But Dad's voice cut through her plea. "If you walk out that door, don't ever come back." I paused at the threshold, looked back one last time. "Don't worry, Dad, I won't." The drive to my apartment that night was a blur. The same routes I'd driven countless times to drop off groceries, to help with bills, to be the responsible daughter they'd come to take for granted. Now they all looked different, like I was seeing them through new eyes. My phone buzzed constantly. Mom's texts grew increasingly desperate. "He's just upset. Please come back. We need you." That last one, "we need you," was what finally made me turn off my phone. Because it wasn't me they needed. It was my money, my stability, my willingness to clean up their messes. Now, 3 months later, I sat in my office, preparing to meet the father who'd disowned me. He had no idea that Morgan Ventures' youngest partner, the one he was desperately hoping would fund his latest scheme, was his own daughter. I should have recused myself from this meeting, should have passed it to another partner, but something in me needed to see this through, needed him to understand exactly what he'd thrown away. I picked up my phone and called Sarah. "For tomorrow's meeting, make sure the conference room windows are unshaded. I want plenty of natural light." "Of course, Miss Wilson." "Anything else?" "Yes. Have security on standby, just in case." I hung up and turned back to the window. The city lights were coming alive now, each one a tiny beacon in the growing darkness. Somewhere out there, My father was probably rehearsing his pitch, confident that tomorrow would finally be his big break. He had no idea what was coming. The next morning, I arrived early. The conference room looked exactly as I'd envisioned, sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, the polished mahogany table gleaming. I'd chosen my outfit carefully, a charcoal gray suit that spoke of authority, heels that put me at eye level with most men. At precisely 8:55 a.m., Sarah buzzed. "Mr. Wilson and his team are here. Give me 2 minutes, then send them in." I stood at the window, back to the door, a power pose I'd learned early in my career. The door opened, and I heard multiple footsteps, at least 3 people. "Please, have a seat," I said without turning. "I'll be with you in a moment." I heard chairs scraping, papers shuffling, then his voice, still so familiar it made my chest tight. "Thank you for taking this meeting. We're excited to show you what Wilson Tech Solutions can bring to the table." I turned slowly, savoring the moment. "Are you, Dad?" The color drained from his face. Beside him, Mom's hand flew to her mouth. The third person, someone I didn't recognize, probably their latest business consultant, looked confused by their reaction. "Olivia," Mom's voice was barely a whisper. I smiled, took my seat at the head of the table. "Shall we begin?" Dad found his voice first. "What is this? Some kind of joke?" "Not at all." I opened the folder in front of me. "You came to pitch your startup to Morgan Ventures. I'm the partner assigned to hear that pitch." I gestured to their unopened briefcases. "Unless you prefer to leave." The consultant, a young man in an off-the-rack suit, cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should reschedule." "That won't be necessary," Dad cut in, his shock hardening into something else. "Pride, maybe, or desperation. We came to make a pitch. Let's make it." I leaned back, gesturing for them to proceed. "The floor is yours." What followed was painfully familiar. Dad launched into his presentation with the same misplaced confidence I'd seen countless times before. A revolutionary app that would disrupt the entire service industry. Projected earnings that defied basic math. Market analysis that seemed based more on hope than research. I let him finish. Let him lay out every grandiose claim and unrealistic projection. Mom kept glancing between us, her hands twisting in her lap. The consultant looked increasingly uncomfortable, probably sensing he'd stepped into something far more complicated than a regular pitch meeting. When Dad finally wound down, I stayed silent for a long moment. Then, "Your revenue projections for year 1, they seem optimistic." "We've done extensive market research. No, I cut in. "You haven't. Your user acquisition costs are grossly underestimated. Your marketing budget wouldn't cover 2 months of minimal advertising. And your technical infrastructure costs." I tapped the papers in front of me. "They're not even close to reality." "Now listen here, He started to rise, but Mom's hand on his arm stopped him. "I'm not finished." My voice was steel. "Your entire business model relies on outdated technology. Your competitor analysis ignores 3 major players who already dominate this space. And your funding request." I closed the folder. "It's about a quarter of what you'd actually need to have any chance of success." The consultant was frantically scribbling notes. Dad's face had gone from pale to red. "You think you know everything now, don't you? Sitting in your fancy office, looking down on everyone." "No, Dad. I just know business. Real business, not get-rich-quick schemes and pipe dreams." I stood up. "Morgan Ventures will have to pass on this opportunity." "Olivia, please." Mom stepped in. "We can revise the numbers. Make changes. This isn't about the numbers, Mom. It's about him." I pointed at Dad. "It's about years of watching him chase fantasies while I picked up the pieces. About being treated like a personal ATM until I finally said no. I am still your father." "Are you?" I met his glare. "Because I remember you saying I was no daughter of yours, right before you threw me out." The consultant was edging toward the door. Mom had tears in her eyes. "You want to know the real irony?" I continued. "If you had actually done the work, real market research, solid financial planning, genuine innovation, I would have funded you. Because that's what we do here. We invest in viable businesses, not desperate gambles." Dad stood up so fast his chair toppled backward. You think you're better than me. You think your fancy title and corner office make you special. No, Dad. What makes me special is that I earned everything I have. Every degree, every promotion, every dollar. I pressed the intercom. Sarah, please have security escort our guests out. You'll regret this. He snarled as 2 security guards appeared at the door. You're making a big mistake. I gathered my papers calmly. No, the mistake was thinking you'd ever change. That you'd ever see me as more than a convenient source of cash. I looked at Mom. I'm sorry it had to end this way. She stepped toward me, arms outstretched, but I shook my head. Please don't. After they left, I stayed in the conference room for a long time, staring out at the city. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. We still love you. Please don't shut us out. I typed back 4 words. Love doesn't take, it gives. Then I blocked their numbers. That evening, I worked later than usual. The city lights came alive one by one, each one a reminder of why I'd chosen this path, why I'd worked so hard to build something real, something solid. Sarah knocked softly. Miss Wilson, is there anything else you need? I turned from the window. No, Sarah, thank you, but tomorrow, clear my morning schedule. I think it's time I looked at some of those small business proposals we've been holding. The ones from local entrepreneurs. I nodded. Yes, the ones who've done the real work, who have solid plans and just need someone to believe in them. I smiled. Someone who knows the difference between dreams and delusions. After she left, I opened my laptop and started a new document. At the top, I typed, Investment Criteria, Small Business Division. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't confrontation or anger. It's building something better than what broke you. In the months that followed, I threw myself into work with renewed focus. The small business division I created became one of Morgan Ventures' most successful initiatives. We funded local startups that had solid foundations, real businesses built on hard work and careful planning. Every now and then, I'd hear about my parents through the grapevine. Dad tried pitching his idea to other investors, with no success. Mom took a part-time job at a local store, probably the first regular paycheck in our family that didn't come from me. Sometimes, late at night, I'd wonder if I'd been too harsh, if cutting them off completely was the right choice. But then I'd remember all the years of manipulation, of guilt trips, of having my own dreams delayed or derailed because they needed just one more loan. One morning, about 6 months after the pitch meeting, Sarah buzzed my office. Miss Wilson, there's a delivery for you. It was a small package, inside, my old house key and a letter from Mom. Dear Olivia, your father won't admit it, but you were right. About everything. We took you for granted. Worse, we took advantage of your success instead of celebrating it. I've started counseling. Your father, well, he's still your father. But I want you to know I'm proud of you, not for your money or your position, but for having the strength to say no, to demand better. I don't expect forgiveness. I'm not even asking for it. I just want you to know that at least one of your parents finally sees you. Love, Mom. I sat with the letter for a long time, emotions swirling. Then I did something I hadn't done in months. I wrote back. Dear Mom. Thank you for your letter. I'm glad you're getting help. As for Dad, I hope someday he understands that real success isn't about quick wins or lucky breaks. It's about building something sustainable, something honest. I can't go back to how things were, but maybe, someday, we can build something new, something better. Take care. Olivia. I sealed the envelope and handed it to Sarah. Then I turned back to my work, to building something that would last. Because that's what real success looks like. Not a lucky break or a handout, but something built piece by piece, day by day, with integrity and purpose. My father had always chased shortcuts to success, but I'd learned the hard way that the only path worth taking is the one you pave yourself. And sometimes, the greatest victory isn't in proving someone wrong, it's in proving yourself right.